You're listening to the PT Pinecast, where smart people in healthcare come to make noise. Here's your host, Jimmy McKay.
Voiceover guy. Hi, I'm Jimmy McKay. Episode today is powered by our new friends at Sarah Health. I'd say new friends, but we've known these guys for a couple of years. Sarah Health remote care platform is turning patient engagement into real clinic revenue. I'm not going to quote him, but he was telling me about a clinic who added $8,000 a month to their bottom line. They're able to pay people better. They're able to buy better stuff, give better care, money. It works. Always fits too. Sarah helps PT clinics streamline communication with patients without extra time and without an extra app. They do it via a HIPAA-safe text platform. I know, technology, it's wild. They make it easy to meet RTM requirements and get reimbursed by Medicare, commercial insurers, all the people that we love. It's simple to set up, easy to integrate with your EMR, and patients actually use it. Who knew? And look, here's their logo. There it is, Sarah Health. Find them online at sarahhealth.io. That is sarahhealth.io. Here's the question. You know those stories that sort of stick with you? The ones that shift your perspective or make you ask like good questions like, could I do that too? Now imagine hearing 6 of them in one spot. Oh, you know where I'm going with this. At CSM this year in Anaheim, a group of PTs will take the stage to share moments that redefined how they led in the clinic, in systems, in lives. Keep looking, but you're probably not going to see these stories in a textbook. They're real world moments of failure, growth, and impact from people who walked the walk and lived to tell about it. We're here today to give you a little bit of preview. This is the movie trailer before the big show. It's a backstage pass into the LAMP leadership talks coming up this year at APTA's combined sections meeting. And the humans, the inspiring humans behind those stories. Let's bring in our first guest, Susan Lukens. Susan, welcome to the studio.
Hey, thanks for letting us be here, Jimmy. This is great.
No pressure. I just gave you the world's biggest, boldest intro.
Okay.
And what's your role here in this situation? I mean, you guys are essentially mimicking these big stories in terms of like TED Talks, right? Ideas that spread. That's Ted's line.
Right.
Hang on a second. Ted's lawyers are on the line. I can't use that. Okay, we'll
TED
leave that.
Style talks.
TED style
talks is how we say it.
So how do you define a TED style talk? Why take this route? I know why I love them. Why you?
Well, I fell in love with them before I was ever part of the LAMP leadership committee, because the first one I went to was at CSM in New Orleans, and these people got up there and they spoke from the heart. They talked about, like you said, the mistakes they made as leaders and what they learned from it and how they grew. And it was organic and real. And I thought, wow, I want to be a part of this group. These are my people. And I ended up joining the committee, and I'm the current chair of the LAMP Leadership Committee. I teach the curriculum. And for the last 3 years, I've actually gotten up there, butterflies in the stomach, full convention hall, and talked about some of the things I've learned as a leader. And these aren't, like I said, these aren't the things you're going to learn in a course. There are things like, making choices of how to figure out, your work-life balance, how to be a lifelong learner, how to, make sure that you have the capacity to support others and yourself as you go through this journey. The exciting thing this year is we've had 10 years. This is the 10th year of these TED style talks. And I can tell you, every year we have a huge convention room and it's full. And we usually go to an overflow room where they put us up on a screen. Yeah. These are stories that people want to hear. We always have a long line of people at the end asking questions, wanting to know more. It's real life as we all live it. So
is the hardest part picking which stories, because you can't put 100 stories on there, is one of the hardest parts of that committee saying, you're getting the nod this year. We're going to leave off we're going to leave off some great ones.
Yeah, it's tough picking it. And the exciting thing is we're in LAMP Leadership, we're kicking off a new board certification.
Oh.
And part of earning the certification is you have to put together one of these talks. And we're naming them Torch Talks. We're LAMP, get it? And so we're going to have a whole repository of these talks, and we're going to be able to have more choice of who to put up there. We've had excellent people for 10 years, but it's going to get a little harder now.
And you've been recording all or most of these, right?
They've been recorded at CSM
good.
on
Great.
demand, but we
Great.
have not been recording beyond that. We're going to start doing that through the recordings of the Torch Talks.
These kids today, they don't know what a box set is, but I got to be honest, if you start recording all of these, could have a LAMP box set. I don't want to skip past this. My show touches a bunch of random people. I have no idea how you find me. Real quick, I don't want to make it a plug for LAMP, but plug LAMP. Like, people might have heard of it or maybe never. What is LAMP? Okay.
So it's funny that we still call it CSM, Combined Section Meetings, because we are now all academies. And the Academy of Leadership and Innovation is our academy. You can be in academies that are all clinically driven. This is the academy for everything else. The Academy of Leadership and Innovation is where you go if you want to be part of the leadership committee or the management. LAMP is leadership and management together. It doesn't matter whether you have the title, we call it the big L title of director, manager, whatever, or if you are what we call the little L leader. Anyone in physical therapy, PTA, PT, you are a leader. You're asking patients to do some funny things. You're asking their families to do some funny things. You really are a leader. So we have curriculum for you. And then the other parts of the Academy of Leadership and Innovation are things like global health, PT Proud, the Technopalooza group is in there. So it's really all of those areas that aren't directly a specific clinical practice. Please go to our website and look at everything that's there. It's really a robust group of individuals that are very passionate about what we do.
I got yelled at by someone. I won't say who, because I was like, it sounds like, and it's bad marketing, but it solves the answer, which is, it sounds like the junk drawer for PT. But the funny part about the junk drawer is that's where all the good stuff is. You can't let it go. You need it. You've got
you need the right tool. It's in that drawer. Right. Yeah.
Junk drawer is not a great marketing term. As a marketing guy, I would tell you, don't use that, but that's the vibe. We'll figure out what it is. All right. So now we understand which academy this is going to fall under. For people who don't know, I explain it. It's one big circus with 18 circuses underneath it. You're one of the 18 circuses who gets to play in this.
And I'm the ringleader.
You're the ringleader of that. You're the P.T. Barnum of the LAMP.
I like it.
Circus in the circus of CSM, right down the street from Disney World, which is another circus with circuses in it. It's just all circuses all the way down.
I love it.
So I'm going to put you back in the green room, unless there's. We're going to bring you back at the end, but now it's time to. We're going to tease. We're going to give the movie trailer version of this. So, Susan, we'll bring you right back. And let's bring in Lori. Lori, welcome to the podcast here.
How are you doing? Thank you for having us.
Let's get the nuts and bolts here. Like, what's your superhero backstory? Just give me, where in the profession you practice. Give us the back of the baseball card, the demographics. Then
I need to be wearing my cape for that. But
right.
My superhero backstory is that I'm not at all a superhero. I started in PT many years ago. I'm not going to divulge that. But I actually was more interested in leadership. I always saw patients, but I was much more interested in building a team and leadership. That's actually how I got involved with it. Used to be HPA, Health Policy and Administration. And, I belonged at the time to acute care and orthopedics, and I was working in both things, but they didn't answer my questions. So this section at the time was more, it gave me more than the other sections, that became academies that talked about the body or the facility you worked or the age of your patients. I wanted to know how to deal with issues that were day to day from a leadership standpoint, performance improvement issues and employee engagement and all of that. And so that's how I found HPA, and we've evolved. Then we became the catalyst, which is, by the way, one of my favorite words. I'm in a doctoral program right now, and they asked about my teaching metaphor, and I said catalyst. That was the first thing that came to my mind. So I really like that. So I love your analogy of junk drawer, but I spend most of my time telling my husband where things are, and one of the things I have to do is tell him where they are in the junk drawer. So I would prefer something like incubator, somewhere where we're incubating ideas and all of that. And we've done that in terms of many people come to us to grow themselves, like PT Proud, like Beyond Clinical and all that. And then they go on to do amazing things. And then I actually got laid off and ended up going from place to place, all in leadership, totally outside the realm of PT. The last thing I did was I ran an accountable care organization. That was very interesting. And I don't know why more PTs aren't involved in running healthcare organizations.
And I like the fact that you went outside to hopefully bring some of that information back inside. So that's a snapshot. We can't tell everybody's complete story, but that we understand sort of a little bit about who you are. Now, what are we getting to? What do you get to stand on stage? Give us sort of the movie trailer version, or, this is the time to tease. This is the teaser. Lori, what do you got for him?
Well, I love listening to people's stories. And that's, I think, what I liked and why I continued having a little hand in patient care is I love to hear people's stories. And one of the things I think is sometimes what I would hear is the subjective is what they tell you and the objective is what you find. I don't see it that way at all. I think that, patients have very objective things to tell us about their lived experiences. And those things have changed my life. They've stuck with me, as you've said. So I'm sharing some stories, starting with stories of people that I interviewed for my MPH, particularly a Navajo woman and her feelings about her diabetes, and then the people I interviewed for my qualitative interviewing that I did, and then just also relating it to how we tell stories as leaders. There's a lot of leadership conferences and trainings where we present leaders as that superhero when we know they're not superheroes at all, and we want to know more about them. And what are we doing as leaders? What kind of story are we sharing? And I guess what I like about all of that is, we're scientists, so we're very based on the facts, but facts and truth are oftentimes repurposed for the benefit of the people who hold the power. And so I like the stories of people that we have maybe not heard in the history books and things like that, and what we maybe haven't heard from leaders, kind of their backstories. So it's a very brief, it's brief. I'm going to try not to talk too long, but those are the things that I want to share, my experiences and how they changed my life.
Perfect. Excellent. Who's the right person to be in the room for your talk? I'm going to ask this to all 6 guests that I talked to today. Who are you hoping is in the audience?
That actually not just people who are the big L leaders, but I actually think anybody, because I think the way we interact with patients, if you're a therapist who has a small practice or you're on staff in some health care organization, I think that you have the opportunity to really listen to lived experiences and guide your practice that way. So I wouldn't say there's anyone, I hope there's no one that this wouldn't be useful for. But I do think it may be interesting to leaders, people who have been out for a while, who maybe have listened to a lot of different talks from different people. Hopefully there will be leaders in the room for that. But I really think anyone would be interested. I would hope they'd be interested. The last thing I'm going to say is we spend a lot of time with patients. I mean, we all know what it's like to be a primary care physician and you just get like 5 seconds. We still spend a lot of time with people. And so we really have a moment to hear what's really going on in their lives, and it can affect it affected me when I heard the stories, how I decided to guide my practice.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to put you back in the green room, and I'm going to bring in our next guest, the next TED Style speaker, Jennifer Green Wilson. Jennifer, welcome. Congrats. Can't wait. Just for context for everybody, what's your superhero backstory? Sort of paint a picture for us.
Okay, so I actually am a Canadian trained physiotherapist, but I practiced my whole professional life in the United States. And my probably biggest thing I would say that I'm really proud of is I'm a transformational leader. And I had the opportunity, the pleasure to actually develop our initial LAMP leadership curriculum way back when. And so I'm just so thrilled to be back actively involved with this team of superheroes.
So I don't want to skip past a term because you brought something up that I've heard before, but I don't know if I'd be able to define it. I don't need, the Webster's dictionary to define it. How would you describe a transformational leader? What does that mean? How is that different than a leader?
So a transformational leader is someone who is absolutely passionate about change and innovation. Ooh. And how you can transform is it's all hands on deck. And so the leader, the person who's inspiring the masses, facilitates the process in such a way that people who are also leading, the followers, are growing and developing at the same time that the person who's facilitating and leading. So everybody is growing and everybody is changing, and change happens. It's really exciting to see.
They sound like a fun person to work with or for or around. That sounds like, I'm listening to this going, show me one of those, I'll work with you. Like, that sounds like a thing to do.
Yeah, so Jimmy, I'll tell you a small story that I had the chance to experience transformational leadership, and I actually learned about transformational leadership from physical therapy students. Oh. And when I changed how I facilitated their learning experience, they became more fully engaged. And wow. The most dreaded, so I taught the business of physical therapy class, so the most dreaded class became their most exciting class.
How'd you do that?
Well, that is another talk that we can have, because that
Smart. Always live and want more. We call that a front tease in radio. I'll give you a little kudos being involved with LAMP. I've been in this profession for 10 years since I graduated, obviously 3 years before that. I don't think I've ever heard anybody not speak highly of LAMP. Like, every time it gets brought up in a happy hour or on a stage, it's like people are always selling LAMP, and they're not selling it. They're like, I went through this, you should do this. Like, they're really just telling people to come along with them. So kudos.
Yeah. And so I think it's really important to honor our past, honor our present, and honor our future, because we've had so many people over so many years, decades, that have contributed to this space and this conversation. And so I think, we've been able to make some of these things come alive and really powerful because of the foundation that we've had. And so, I think we need to acknowledge everybody who's been part of this and now Academy.
All right, so give us a little front tease. What do you get to talk about this year at CSM when we go to the left coast?
So I'm going to talk about, it's all about passion. And that's what leadership is to me at this point. And I also want to thank the team that this is going to be my first TED style talk that I've given, although I've been involved in LAMP leadership for almost 2 decades. So I'm really, really, really thrilled to be part of the team. And so I have a few things, maybe 3 things that I'd like to share. So we all have those tap on the shoulder moments when doors and windows open and we don't know why they're there. And we don't know why we're really being tapped on the shoulder. But if we pay attention and listen to those and go through the doors or climb through the windows, our journeys and our paths can take us in ways, in directions that we never thought that we could or should. And so part of that experience, especially with discovering sort of this personal leadership, self-leadership, So it really, the message is all of us in physical therapy can display our leadership, and we can lead wherever we are at any moment in time. And we need that. There's such a call for that in healthcare at this point. And what I discovered was having the opportunity to reframe leadership as personal leadership, self-leadership, meaning all of us can do that, be that. That's where I found my passion. And so I've spent, as I mentioned, almost 2 decades pounding the pavement, trying to really build the passion in others for this idea and this concept. And change requires leadership. So going back to transformational leadership.
Yeah.
So if we spark leadership at all levels, then we can be more influential in facilitating that change. And so passion, the last thing I will say is passion is an emotion, and emotional intelligence is a big part of leadership. And so it was so great to be able to really hone in on our passion and our emotions. And that's the fuel that inspires us to lead that change.
Drop the mic, walk off stage, right? I'll give you the last thing I'm asking each guest. Who are the types of people that you hope are in the audience? And it could be a demographic answer, a psychographic, like who are you hoping, right? Because a lot of these talks, I always say, get your flowers, get on stage. Like you'll stand there above your colleagues for your 15 minutes of fame. But I don't know anybody who does that without thinking, I hope someone steals these ideas or these emotions and goes and does things. Who do you hope's in the audience while you're talking?
Absolutely everyone, and that includes our students. I know we have thousands of students that come to CSM, and we absolutely want to make sure that students are they feel welcome and they're included, because they're just beginning their leadership journeys, and we absolutely need them in order to push our profession even further.
Excellent. All right, Jennifer, go back to the green room. We'll talk to you in just a little bit. We bring on no stranger to the show. Back, I don't know, half a dozen times on the program, Sean Bagbey. Sean, welcome back, man.
Thank you. Get tired of talking to me yet?
No, because you always have something good to say. But I'm going to ask you, just reframe for the audience what you get to do in this pretty cool profession of ours, just like your superhero.
There is no superhero, but what I get to do is I help found a company called Rehabilitation Performance Institute. We have 15 outpatient physical therapy clinics now in the Midwest, Indiana, Kentucky, and Illinois. And we're founded on the fact that healthcare sucks and physical therapy can be the change. And so that's been my journey. And my journey has been don't accept status quo and don't accept what other people tell you, and to find your way. And that's what I want to talk about during my TED Talk.
Is that your talk? I mean, healthcare sucks and we can fix it. Hopefully it's healthcare sucks and this is what we can do about it, right? What are we looking at?
Yeah, well, it's actually more about the personal aspect of what my journey has been, of like how I've had to evolve from being someone that enjoyed just taking on every aspect of patient care and excelling at that, to really like how we make change on a grander stage by no longer doing that one-on-one, but multiplication and coaching, and how much harder of a journey that is, but how much more rewarding it is when we're able to multiply our effect.
Love that. Since you went so quick through these 2 questions, I want to give you a little extra time, right? Who do you hope in the audience, and what do you hope they do? Like, let me ask you this a different way. Who do you hope's in the audience, and what would success look like to you a year, 3, 5 from now, hearing back from those people who are in the audience?
Yeah. So who I want in the audience are PTs and PTAs that are passionate about like making a change in what we do as a profession, but might not be comfortable in taking on that responsibility themselves. As we start doing that, that's how we become better. We have such a connection with our patients and our ability to make them better. And we do a really crappy job of taking the accolades for that. I want people to understand, like, we can change lives. We can be the musculoskeletal experts in the communities, and we can take on that responsibility. but it's a responsibility. So we have to do that. And part of that is being true to ourselves and making sure that we are expanding that. And so the more PTs and PTAs that are willing to take on that risk of like being audacious in their career, and it doesn't mean you have to be an owner. It means you're willing to own your career. People that will take that on, success for me is seeing more of those 3 to 5 years. People who are willing to fight insurance companies. People that are willing to not accept that I need to see 74 patients in a day because, you know, we need to do 200% productivity.
Sure.
You know, but caring for what you do and doing what you're passionate about.
You were really close because, you know, this CSM is going to be next to Disneyland in California. And you said with great responsibility, and I was ready for like, you drop a Spider-Man line, right? With great power comes with great responsibility. And you can I was waiting for that to come up.
You know, that's a great thing. And I will drop this one little thing. There will be a quote in mine from one I think the best writers of all time, Lin-Manuel Miranda. And so you'll just have to hear that when
All
you see me.
All right, back to the green room. We'll bring you back for your parting shot in just a little bit. John Corcoran, John, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Let's set the stage. How do you describe if someone were to say, hey, you know, where are you from? Not geographically necessarily, but from this profession. What's your back of the baseball card look like?
Yeah, I started, I started as a musician before I became a PT.
What'd you play?
I played drums mostly, and I when I was on stage was drums, but I wrote songs, guitar, and I still do it as a hobby.
Heck yeah.
I just couldn't make it as a living, but it was such a great time in my life, so I still do it as a hobby.
Excellent.
My plan B is PT, and you know, it turned out to be an amazing plan B. I'm now gone through every profession or every job in PT, and now I'm the director of rehab at NYU Rusk Rehabilitation. So it's been a long journey from a homeless musician to now the director of a large academic program, which was really a fun journey. And I think, you know, a lot of the TED Talks, I talked about that. I've done them literally 10 years. I know it's a 10-year mark, and I've done it 10 times. And one of the talks I gave was, you know, some of the things as a musician that I see in PT. You know, you wouldn't think there's a lot of overlap there, but definitely some things I learned from different careers that do carry over.
Yeah. Oh, you're just down the Hudson from me, and I'm up near West Point. But so what's a lesson? What's an approach? Because you are a musician, whether you're doing that for a living, you can't, you know, you can take the guy out of the club or off the stage, but you can't change that mentality. Absolutely. So what is a lesson or a skill set or a lens that you look at the world, no matter where you are, from that background?
You know, a lot of it to me, you know, everyone talks about active listening. And I think one of the reasons I've been successful in leadership is literally learning and knowing before I got into the profession how to listen, not just the music, but, you know, listen to different parts of instruments, different arrangements. And I think, you know, when you connect with a patient, they could tell if you're listening. And when you connect with your colleagues, they could tell if you're really listening or you're off somewhere else. And having that focus to really, I think too, to get really professional and an expert in an instrument, you really got to learn to focus. And a lot of people have trouble with that. I don't. That's one. I mean, I have other challenges like we all do, but I can focus, I can listen. And patients and staff and my own staff, I really feel they appreciate that.
Yeah. Why are these soft skills so damn hard? It's because they're skills. And if you don't work on them, they atrophy, or you don't develop them ever. And if you do, magically they get better. And a lot of things get simpler, not easier, simpler, if communication is a skill or it's not a barrier.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So what are you talking about this year? You're no stranger to this style of talk. What's the preview?
The preview is, the title of the talk is Survival, Life, and Leadership, which is this dramatic title, but it's really 3 parts. So survival, I talk about when I was a brand new PT. I was working during September 11th, and that was, you know, a very catastrophic time in our country, and working in a clinic where we saw some survivors, the few survivors, Then also survivorship in terms of Hurricane Sandy, which came to the same medical center, working through that. That's a different style of leadership, working during catastrophic times. The second part of the talk has to do with life lessons. And working in an academic medical center, I've been privileged to work with some really, really interesting patients. Like, for example, so I had twice I had separated conjoined twins that I work with.
Wow.
And what I learned, they both, survived the surgery. And what I learned from them and their journey, I talk a little bit about that. And then the last part, leadership. I've had many great mentors over the years, and some of the lessons that they've provided me have really transformed me, both at work, but outside, also my personal life. So I bring in a few anecdotes from that. Perfect.
All right. And you've heard me ask the other guests too, who do you hope's in the audience? But really, I think I got better at asking the question the more I asked, which is like, who do you hope's there, but also like, what do you hope you hear about a year, 3, 5 years later?
I would love to have a lot of students in there, and we tend to do at CSM. Coming from a music background, I'm not really proud of this, but I almost, college wasn't really something I was going to do, and I'm glad I did. Having students there and saying, listen, if I can do this, you can. If you're interested in this and you want to get into leadership, here's a guy who was, driving around the country in a van with a band, and now, if you really want to get to leadership, I'm not, that normal trajectory of it, but you can do it. And I think I can help students who do have an interest in leadership from maybe a non-traditional pathway into it. I'd love to see that and talk to people like that.
There's a lot more people than you think coming to this profession non-traditionally. I know look, John and I, we're wearing the ties, man. We look all straight-laced, but this guy's over here banging on the drums like in a former life, right? I was pushing play and talking into a microphone, and you can learn a lot from those things. This is the different things that you didn't know could be valuable. All right, John, I'm going to put you back in the green room. We'll bring you back for your parting shot. No stranger to the show, Kristin Walls. There she is. Pivoting to the cell phone there, I see. Yeah, we had a little connection problem, but
hi, Jimmy. I can't hear anything right now.
You can't hear anything right now? All right. Well, Kristin comes to us because she's taught and led LAMP. I'll put you back in the green room. Bring back Susan. Susan, this is called pivoting in live.
Okay.
Radio. All right. What's Kristin's background? Do you know it? Like, what do you know about Kristin's
background?
My
gosh, Kristin is absolutely amazing. She is a physical therapist, worked with the OSU athletes, and I'm not going to say the word "the" in front of it, because in the Big Ten around here we say "Go Hoosiers" and "Boiler up."
Yeah. Congratulations, by the way.
I know, right? But I'm more of a Boilermaker. But
all right.
Not
so,
myself.
What do we want to talk about in terms of Kristin's talk?
So Kristin, I don't know what Kristin's talk is. Yeah, I know Kristin has made several career moves, from working with athletes to working in the clinic to running a clinic. She built an amazing performance center. She decided to pivot because she has 2 young, amazing, gorgeous girls. And so she pivoted to a whole different area of healthcare to be at home. And she does utilization review for insurance companies, which, if someone's going to review my chart and say how many visits I get, I want it to be Kristin. Maybe she's coming back.
Can you hear us now, Kristin?
I can hear you.
Could you hear everything I said? Yes. Was that pretty spot on?
All right. I think we're a little bit delayed, but that's okay. So Kristin, just give people the back of the baseball card. Frame them up. Okay. Who do you get to be? Who are you in this profession?
I can't hear you.
All right. Well, story of my life, me talking and people not listening or not being able to hear me. That's just really what it looks like. All right. Let's bring all the guests back on, and we'll go to green room. This is called the pivot in radio. So parting shot. We say parting shots brought to you by U.S. Physical Therapy, our friends, a national network of clinics focused on developing clinicians, not burning them out. Leadership tracks, mentorship, career growth, and the stability to build your future in PT. If you want a place that supports you and how you want to practice, that's USPH. Find them at usph.com. That's usph.com. See how we just slipped the live read in there as we're pivoting? Kristin, If you can hear us, give us a thumbs up. If not, we'll pivot to everybody else. Lori, let's go to your parting shot. What's the last thing you'd want the audience to leave thinking about?
I can.
Yay!
So, I use a few quotes, and one is psychologist Vivian Boer, and she said that when people talk, the world gets constructed. And that's what we do. We talk with our patients, we talk with our team, we talk with other leaders. And I want everybody, students and people who work in clinical practice and leaders at different positions, just to understand they have a huge opportunity to, with others, construct the world that they want to see together.
Love that. Good parting shot. Jennifer, we'll go parting shot next with you. What do you want to leave with the audience?
So I just want you to know that feeling passionate is fun. And I really want to help everybody, or to ask them what their passion is, what they're passionate about, and really feel that and let that guide you in your professional leadership journey.
Love it. Sean, you've done this before. No stranger to the parting shot. What do you want to leave with you? What's your mic drop moment?
This is an opportunity for people to hear the stories of so many people that have affected the profession of physical therapy. And it's not an instantaneous moment you're looking at. This is generational, and we need people to take up the next generation and lead this profession where it needs to go.
That with the voice and the beard sounds very serious. Good. All right, John, all the way from New York City. What's your parting shot today?
Parting shot is these skills can be learned. A lot of people feel leadership is something people you have or you don't. But guess what? You can learn it, and you should come, get involved with LAMP, come to the talk. We're going to teach, and we're also available to help you. Many students come out unprepared for leadership until recently. But Jennifer's course, most students are scared of this, but we can help you, and you can learn it.
All right, Kristin, do we have the audio back together? How's that looking?
I think so. Can you hear me?
A little bit. You're a little delayed. Kristin, give people context real quick about who you are in the profession.
Okay, I'm Kristin Walls. My background is I'm a residency trained sports PT, worked in collegiate athletics and outpatient ortho, and have now found my way into kind of non-clinical work on the utilization side. And then I'm active in my state chapter in Ohio and within the Academy of Leadership and Innovation with LAMP Leadership, but I'm also the education chair for the Academy.
All right, what are you jumping on stage? What's the story? Here's your chance to sort of tease forward and put butts in seats coming up, and I'll give the details about when the session is, all that. You focus on the story.
Sure. Well, first I want to say congratulations on being the recipient of our Lamp Lighter Award for 2025, Jimmy. Big deal.
Appreciate it.
Yes. But my story, the one I gave in Boston was called Don't Shrink. So it was about kind of finding your purpose and moving towards, self-leadership. And this is also a self-leadership story called You Matter Too. And it's kind of my exploration in finding myself after being lost in the role of being a physical therapist and forgetting myself along the way. So that self-abandonment that many of us feel as providers and parents and the sandwich generation, everything in between, it's, don't forget yourself along the way and care for yourself.
Love it. All right. Well, you're no stranger to the show. You know how we wrap up. What's the parting shot you'd want to leave with the audience?
Yeah. So every audience, I think anyone who's maybe feeling that should be coming to the TED Talks and maybe hearing this 10-minute story just for inspiration and connection. But my big, parting shot would be, and I think it's kind of consistent for every podcast I've done with you, is provider wellness and professional sustainability has to be in the forefront, and the leaders get to help drive that and be a part of that. So I would say let's make this a focus. Let's continue to keep our workforce together and healthy.
Sounds great. Perfect. All right. No pressure, Susan, but you get to back clean up here with a parting shot. What do you want to leave with the audience as we wrap up?
Okay. I would say this talk is amazing for anybody who's had any sort of uncomfortable feeling in their profession as a PT, right? We all lead. I've talked about the big L and the little L. A lot of our TED style talks come from a place of getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, right? Of a time when you've had to grow, a time of when you've had to figure something out. And again, when I went to my first one, I got there and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one that went through something like that. Oh, they went through that too, and that's how they got through it. It's an amazing way to connect with others who have gone through something similar. You may not connect with every single talk, but I guarantee if you are a physical therapist in any sort of practice or work, somebody is going to have something on that stage that you're going to connect with and feel better because of it.
Yeah. And then the funny part is just how it happens. The people who are in the audience in a couple of years, you're going to be telling one of those stories on stage. It's in the show notes, but I will say it here, the LAMP Leadership Style, TED Style Talks, shared lessons on leading within and leading others, Thursday, February 12th. That's 2:00 p.m. to 3:30. Check your APTA app and check your programs at home. Hey, thanks for doing this. Congrats on a decade. Getting people together, once is difficult, never mind 10 times in a row. So thanks so much for sharing here, and we'll see you guys in LA.
All right. Thanks, Jimmy.
That's it for this one, but we're just getting warmed up. Smash follow, send it to a friend, or crank up the next episode. Want to go deeper? Hit us at ptpintcast.com. Or find us on YouTube and socials at PT Pintcast. And legally, none of this was advice. It's for entertainment purposes only. See, Keith, we read the script. Happy now?